if you have a fear of blood, I wonder if you would be interested in learning something simple that may help you get over that fear. So if you're interested, continue watching. It will only take a few minutes of your time, and it may just get you over that problem you've been having, that fear of blood. Some people faint at the sight of blood, some people get sick at the sight of blood, and then some people just avoid it completely. And it becomes difficult if you need to go and get some medical checks. So if you're interested in getting over that fear of blood, just follow along with me, and you might be interested to reduce that fear or eliminate it altogether. So what I want you to do is I want you to think simply about a small amount of blood that makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable. And notice where you feel that. Now measure that feeling 0 to 10 of that fear of blood, or that anxiety feeling, whatever that is in your body. Measure that 0 to 10 when you think about blood or having to deal with blood. Now 10 being the highest amount of fear and 0 obviously being the least. But the thing about it is, I want you to listen to that inner voice in your mind, the one that nags and sends those fears flying sometimes. Just that little voice that goes pop in your head, 0 to 10, when you think about that blood, what number pops to mind of fear about that blood? Okay, with that number, I want you to just follow along with me, say the words I'm saying out loud, and hopefully by the end of this, you'll have learned a new tool for dealing with that fear of blood. All right. So with that number, tap on the side of your hand here and say after me, even though I have that fear of blood, I'm okay. Even though I have that number fear of blood, I'm okay now. Even though I have that number fear of blood, I'm okay. That number fear of blood. 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 Take a deep breath in. And release that now. Now think about what you were thinking about before. Nothing else. Don't let your mind stray onto something else. Whatever you were thinking about before around blood. Measure again 0 to 10. What number pops to mind of fear of blood? And with that number, just begin tapping again along with me and saying out loud after me, even though I have that remaining fear of blood and that number, I'm okay. Even though I have that remaining fear of blood and number, I'm okay. Even though I have that remaining fear of blood and number, I'm okay. That remaining number fear of blood. 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 Take a deep breath in. And release that again. Okay. Think again, specifically about what you were thinking about the first time, second time. Stay focused on that issue around blood, whatever that is. Measure again 0 to 10. What number pops to mind when you think of that blood? What fear do you think, feel? 0 to 10. What number pops to mind? Whatever pops to mind, the first number pops in your head, that's the one to deal with. If you've been randomly thinking of numbers, consciously thinking of numbers, they are not the answers. It's the one, that little voice that goes, boom, number. The minute I ask you 0 to 10, what number pops to mind of fear of blood have you got? Your subconscious mind will answer questions 100 times better than your conscious mind, because it's your subconscious mind that triggers off the fear. So it's your subconscious mind has the answer. So 0 to 10, that number. Okay, with that number, Just because I still have that number of fear of blood, I'm okay. Just because I still have that number fear of blood, I'm okay. Just because I still have that number fear of blood, I'm okay. That number fear of blood, 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 that number fear of blood. Take a deep breath in. Release all that now. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to, between your ring finger and little finger, down in here, I want you to begin tapping. And while you're tapping, I want you to look down at the floor without moving your head and roll your eyes gradually up to the ceiling. Take a deep breath in. Release that now. Now think about that issue around blood. Measure 0 to 10. If those numbers have reduced to 0 would be great, but if they've reduced, you're onto something. You may need to do this a few times more, stick with the one issue, and then you can move on to other ones. And then possibly even test in some way. Whether it's look at a picture of blood, look at something on the internet about blood, and you can go back through all this again. And hopefully reduce that fear or eliminate that fear of blood so you can do what you need to do for yourself.